Likuum. My beloved Kuraju M. Wu-Nuup, children of Wu-Nuup, our culture, the 9 ether deities who birthed all others. New Wapians remember this story. It was recorded and re-recorded by others. Yet, in fact, it is our own story. The names of the persons in this story were changed or removed, such as to replace the man, Ray Moose, Ray A Moose, Da the Wee Moose, Zulwi Moose, Moose who became Mose, Moses, Musa, Musa, even Masha, Hapi Moose, and Jitwi, Jedi or Zadutwi. Some called him Ningishzida, Nakash, Tahuti, Galzu, Thoth, Melchizedek, Melchizedek, Nabi Qadr, Al-Qadr the Green One, and other names in other cultures and religions. How, you may ask, how do I know this? I was there. I am he, the Ancient of Days. I have been around for many of Earth's years in and out of many forms and flesh. Seen the very birth of Da'a evil and the evil race of Muxhashu deceivers. And this is only one of my many stories for your instructions. I bring to mind when Remus, Ramos said to his younger successor O'Shea, Joshua, Yehoshua, I will not give up or quit until I reach the gathering that is the junction of the 2 Nile rivers, the Blue Nile and the White Nile at Tudi in Sudan, or I will exhaust myself in pain no matter how long it takes. So when they finally reached the junction between the 2 Niles at Tudi, in Africa's Sudan, they were hungry and were to have fish, yet noticed that they had forgotten the fish along the way, one for each of them. The fish that had fallen from O'Shea's bag, it was still alive. So the fish took the chance to jump out and back into the river and took a path tunneling away. So when they had gone beyond that point in their journey, Ray Moose said to his young successor O'Shea, give the fish to me for us to eat. It's morning and indeed we suffered much fatigue from this long journey of ours. O'Shea said, did you see when we were at the slippery rocks? Surely I did forget about the fish, and none made me forget except the devil, the adversary. Surely I did forget it. And it took off on its path back into the river to my surprise and wonder. Ray Moose said, that was extraordinary and what we depended on to eat. So we must backtrack over the rocks, retracting our footsteps. So on their way they came upon a servant, or one dressed to make them think so. This was Jehutwi, the servant incarnate of Pa-Nageryu, the overseers. He had been given all the secrets of the womb of all living. He was indeed yielding one of our greatest servants and an everlasting one. An eternal being without beginning, nor end, without mother or father. One who incarnates Munisal into the flesh of others. So Ray Moose said to Zoe, how can I follow you, and I learn of eternal life, the knowledge of everlasting life as you have? Jitwi said, surely you will not be able to follow me. You will not be able to be patient with what I do my way. How can you be patient about what you see and don't overstand and may see as wrong actions? Ray Moose then said, I will prostrate before you and pray. If the overseers will be done, I will be able to be patient and I will not disobey you or distrust your actions in any way. I am under your command. I will listen, follow, obey and not question. I will be patient with you. Zotwi looked Ray Moose in his eyes and said, so then with that said, surely you can follow me. But do not question what you see me do. I do things my way. That is, the way. Not until I mention what I do, the way I do things to you Ray Moose. Not until I converse with you and bring it back to you as you are forgetful. I must restore it to your memory. So now accepted, Ray Moose became Zotwi Moose. And those two went on, and O'Shea went his way back to Pa-Shashu. The Israelites and Jitwi and Zotwi Moose proceeded until they walked onward and came to a falak boat for a ride. And once on the other side of the river Jitwi rushed away, putting a hole in the falak boat. Zotwi Moose said to Jitwi, why have you put a hole in that falak boat? Don't you know by that action you may drown those people? Is not this an evil action that you have done, Jitwi? Jitwi slowed down, turned to look Stahudi Moose in his eyes again, and said, did I not tell you that you will not, and won't be able to be patient with what I do, my actions? Did I not? Stahudi Moose looked at Jedi and was unsure. Please do not hold this against me because I forgot. I did not remember. My emotions got the best of me. Please don't be too hard upon me for this action and the fact that I questioned you and was not patient until you informed me of your actions. Jitwi said, go your way, overcome your anger and distrust of what you see and don't overstand. Stahudi Moose said, let me walk with you, it will not happen again, I will not forget. So Jitwi looked at Stahudi Moose and said, come on, so they both proceeded. Stahudi Moose walking and talking about this and about that, about her and about him and mostly about himself. Until they came upon a young boy. And Jitwi killed the young boy by striking him 3 blows in the head. Stahudi Moose yelled, what is this you have done? You have harmed a Kured child, you abused him, you took his very life. Stahudi Moose said, this was an innocent child who has done no wrong. Indeed and in action you have done a very horrible thing to an innocent child. You have committed a very bad act, a prohibited action, a dreadful deed. On and on he went yelling and screaming, "What have you done to that child?" Jitui sat down on a stone and watched, looked and listened to his rampage and rage. Jitui stood up and Al-Haadi Moses backed off out of fear and shut up. Jitui said to him, "I told you once and now I am telling you twice, you cannot follow me. You are not able to be patient with my actions and my deeds. Your understanding of things is not up to my overstanding of my doings." Al-Haadi Moses said, "Yet, however, I mean well you see, I forgot again. Okay, overlook this second outrage of mine and if I act up or ask you anything after this, send me on my way. This is my excuse, I forgot your first words to me." Jitui smiled and said, "Come on." They walked on this time, Al-Haadi Moses did not say a word, just walked beside him. Until when they came to a town and its people and Al-Haadi Moses said, "We are very hungry after such a long walk, may we have some food to eat?" Yet, the people looked him up and down and said, "No, we will not entertain your request, we refuse to give you food." Al-Haadi Moses looked on in shock and anger. Jitui tapped him on his shoulder and said, "Let us move on." They came to a wall right outside the town of these people. Yet, the wall was about to collapse, and Jitui took his time and rebuilt that wall stone by stone until it was straight and turned and looked at Al-Haadi Moses, who looked on yet did not help him rebuild that wall. Then Al-Haadi Moses sat down beside Jitui and said, "Well, if this doesn't beat all the things you have done. We are very hungry and those town people would not feed us, yet, you repair their wall for nothing. You could have made them pay a price and we would have plenty of food to eat." Jitui simply said, "Now this is where you and I will part ways. So now I will converse with you about my actions and my deeds. These are the actions of which you could not be patient with me about. Let me start with the first. As for Pa Falak the boat. Well, Pa Falak the boat belonged to some very poor people who worked very hard up and down and across the Nile rivers. So I put a hole in the boat to make it defective so that the evil ruler over them who stood over them, whip in hand to take most of what they earned, and plan the day to come and take their boat from them. Yet, if he saw it was defected by the hole then he would not be able to take it and the boat owner knew how to repair it once the ruler had left without taking their Falak boat. So you see, you did not really see what I was doing because you could not be patient with me. You used your own mind, your own thinking, your own emotions to misjudge mine. And as for the child that I abused, even killed, and took his life from him. Well, his parents were good, devoted people. However, he had an evil heart. He was a wicked child, a SABAT-U demigod. Wickedness, greed, lust, pride and violence ruled him. Every imagination of his thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The two parents wished to have another one who would love and respect them. And you knew he was going to oppress, abuse, disrespect, hurt and even fight and kill them in anger. So a second time you looked on and did not see. You could not be patient with my actions and my deeds as you claimed you would, even the second time. Al-Haadi Moses stood there with an open mouth. Now lastly about the wall and the people of that town. Well, the wall belonged to two orphan boys in that town. And there was under that yonder wall a great treasure. And this Kanaa's treasure belonged to the boys. And their father was a very good man as well as their mother. And as you saw, the people of that town were not very generous. Once the elder parents would pass, the townspeople would have taken their treasure from the young boys. And even killed the two boys. So to make sure the treasure remained hidden until the right time, which would be when their parents who adopted them had died and they would have become of age, or the townspeople would see the damaged wall and would set out to repair that very wall and find the treasure of theirs. So all that you think you have seen or see me do, I did not do for myself, yet for others, no matter how it may look to you or how you see me or understand what you think are my reasons. Now these are the meanings of my actions and deeds, which you could not be patient with me. Yet, you want what I incarnated to give you, instead of watching and learning, you are looking and judging me. Can you truly be patient with what you do not understand of my actions while in this physical incarnation? Think over all you have heard, about what is said I have done and say, Jedi, I can be patient. When Jedi or Jdatwi called by any titles such as Al-Qadir and Melchizedek and Galzu and others came to this planet from SABAT-U and from Sa'ad. He had the magical staff. This was 26,000 years ago, 2,000 years before the records of 4 times 6,000 years or the 24,000 years. This magical staff or wand had the crystal atop of it with the records in it. The staff could do many things, had many powers. When Jitui was to return to the stars, he passed the staff on to Patatum. He had 6 sons, all great masters, and he had to pass the staff on to just one of his own sons. When the time came there was a choice of 2, Hadap and Jehutwi. There was much said as to which should receive it and its powers. So after much thought Ptah spoke to the mother Sakamtat and she said, use the power to make the very likes of the first. So Ptah Tum did just that, commanded the first to become another. And this happened, The one became two with all the same powers, even the crystal at the top became two with the 24,000-year records of this cycle. So he gave one to Al-Haadi. And he gave the other to Jehuti, and all was well with the divine instructions on the staff. And became the symbol of the two pillars of the Holy of Holies at each temple, the Yaa-Nun, serpent with its tail in its mouth with two cobra parallel. The mystical order AEO, was protected by the staffs, used to raise great stones of any weight and size to any height and place. They gave the ability to find hidden water and control the elements of nature. The staffs were able to heal the infirm and raise the dead. They became the medical symbol, the caduceus, the double helix. This medical symbol actually was the standard used by Moses, the copper serpent, Nehushtan, used to heal those bitten by the serpent, while they were being led out of Egypt. Numbers 21:8-9. John 3:14-15. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Also called the winged staff of Mercurius or Mercury, the secret element. This element is mysterious because it has a liquid form like water, yet the color is like silver. However, it does not share metallic bonds like most metals. In fact, a Mercurius ion forms covalent metal bonds or bonds with other elements. It's the 119th element to be known. Even Merlin had one of the staffs for a while, stolen from Egypt, yet it was returned. Mercury, the heavy silver-white metallic chemical element liquid at ordinary temperatures having very powerful qualities when spinning. This coincides with the nature of a Muknashtat-U/Muknash-U hermaphrodite/hemaphrodite whose body vibration is double that of a single female or single male and thus two genders, or they are in tune with two worlds, physical and spiritual, or two states like Mercury is a liquid and a metal state at the same time. Also the symbol for the planet Mercury is also the same from Hermaphrodite. And so after the test of Moses Jehuti the snake ruler passed the staff on to him. Moses became Jehuti Muz or Thothmos to guide and protect the mixed Kamamu Egyptians with Israelites when they departed southward after 430 years. It was called a bronze snake, serpent of brass, Nehushtan. The pole was the staff holding the serpent as mentioned in Numbers 21:8-9. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass, that every one that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it upon a pole, and it came to pass, that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. 2 Kings 18:4, John 3:14-15. This staff had power to transform as it did in Exodus 4 called a rod. Exodus 4:1-4, and Moses answered and said, But, behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. So note that the Israelites' Lord did not know what was in Moses' hand. He asked, What is that in thine hand? Because it was instructed by an Egyptian living one Yahweh. And so, the Kamamu Egyptians had the same powers because they had the staff of Al-Haadi. Exodus 7:9-12, and this is how the rod or staff became one again. Exodus 7:9-12, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh, and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. So it became one staff again at that point, and it has been returned to the ancient order kept secret in Egypt, best kept secret. Solomon used the staff to rule the evil Hittite tribe of Kinu Canaanite genies of Jinn 2 Samuel 23:24 of which he was half. 1 Kings 6:138, Quran 27:17 and 34:12. The staff killed him. He died leaning on the staff. It was returned to the serpent priest of Amun by Mot-Ka-Re-A, called Hatshepsut, Queen of Sheba, Makeda. All the rulers with the holy bloodline were serpent rulers of Jehuti. Jehuti called the serpent in the Bible, Genesis 3:1. The symbol of the cobra on the namaz headdress and holding the two staffs or the rod and the staff are symbols that you ruled the ape, monkey man, homo simian, mixed with homo canine, homo porcine or pig man. The symbol of Rabbah baboon, the same Rab in Hebrew meaning master and Rab in Arabic also meaning master or lord, sustainer. So each held the symbol of the two staffs. Pa-Hakat the crook, scepter. Exodus 4:2. Pa-Was is the flagellum, flail pa-ku flail, pa-ka staff. Psalm 23:4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff they comfort me. The rod and staff symbolize power to guide or destroy. The control of elements, life, death and rulership from above down to Taha earth. Over the years, priests of many religions hold a staff or cane as a symbol of leading the flock. Most have no idea of the origin of the two become one again to the end. The Tikanitwi two obelisks before each temple, the two pillars of Masonic Lodge, the pillars of Heracles. You see it held by many leaders who know right wisdom of its origin from SABAT-U Sirius and Sa'at Orion. The two that return to one are now in a secret place, return to its original place. It was these two staffs of Jitwi passed to Ptah, passed to Jehutwi and Mhadap, passed on to the order of serpents. Then on to Re-Muz Moses, who upon receiving one from Jehutwi became Zotwi-Muz, Thothmos, ruler of the monkey race of baboons and finder of the water's way, to strike the staff upon a rock to get water. Can you get water from a rock? Is symbolic of all things are possible with the powers known to you. With this question was also the fall of Moses. After all he had learned and had been explained to him, he questioned and took the glory or credit to himself. Numbers 27-12. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou, and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. Moses and Pharaoh made the two staffs one again, and it parted the blood sea, the Red Sea, Reed Sea, yet his people returned to bloodlusting. And now I ask you, as you watched this and heard the names change again and again, did you question?